First of all, just Moritz Seider, they just announced him signing. How much of a relief is that? I'm sure you guys noticed even just today what a big piece you were missing.
Yeah, I think just obviously some great news the past few days with Ray signing and then Mo signing. So I think everyone's kind of relieved that that's done and over with. And both those guys are tremendous players, some of the best players on our team. So obviously huge to have them on our side. And both of them I think are so deserving as well of their new contracts. I mean, both of them work so hard. They want to be Red Wings. They want to do well for the city here and for the organization. So happy for both of those guys and for the team as well.
Specifically, just in your time that you played with them last season, how did you see the importance of both of them and how driven they both are at such young ages, both
Yeah,
Lucas and Moritz?
yeah. I mean, I think especially now you're seeing it more and more where your younger players are coming in and having more of an impact and becoming some of your best players. But I think those two guys are no different. I mean, Mo's such a good defender, great defenseman. He's so important playing against top lines every night. Obviously, he's got a lot of offensive weapons as well. Can be dynamic on the power play, can produce offensively from the back end, which is huge. And then Ray's we all saw what he was able to do last year, especially at the end of the season, how good he was, how he really helped carry us into a spot where we could potentially make the playoffs, especially when Larks was out. And his production was through the roof at the end of the year too. So yeah, huge pieces for our team.
Lastly, just what appeals to you about the prospect of maybe playing with Vladimir Tarasenko on the same line?
I think he's a great shooter, and he's similar to DeBrincat in the way where he's able to find open areas and get his shot off quickly. So hopefully if I'm controlling the puck or can find him in certain areas where he can have a good chance to score, that could be beneficial to the team. I think we know each other from our time in New York as well, so pretty familiar with personality and the way he wants to play. I think we're both right wingers, so it'll be a little bit different to see who's going to move over to the left or what we're going to do in that respect. But obviously playing with JT and Vladdy, there's a lot of potential there and could really be a good second scoring line for the team.
Thanks, Patrick.
Did you say it? Oh. Sorry. Hey, Patrick, how advantageous was it to train this summer 100% healthy? You alluded to it, I think, last time we talked to you. Like, how great was it to just be able to train like a pro athlete, like I remember you said?
Yeah, it was nice. Obviously a few summers before you were doing a lot of rehab or just trying to look for any type of relief in the hip area just to feel as good as you can. This year was more about, actually similar to the summer before, that like a lot of the stuff I did during rehab, but like more resistance, more weight behind the exercises. Obviously more like full body stuff, not just necessarily focused on the hip. Obviously that's an important piece of the body for me, but it was nice to be able to just kind of go into the gym feeling good and get ready for the workout and be able to train, as hard as you can, like an athlete, like you said. So that was definitely a fun part of the summer for me.
Hey, Patrick, what did you see in this team specifically that made you want to return? I mean, probably had choices out there. What was the key deciding factor here?
I just think how close we were last year. Just looking back on the season, there's obviously things that you think about when you're potentially signing a new contract. And when I was looking back, I thought there was some really like some great moments for me personally and for the team, the excitement around the team. the way I fit in for the team, like my role and what was expected of me here, I think was something I enjoy as well. So I guess you never really know how those things are going to shake out, with the negotiations and the contracts and everything like that. But it's kind of, I think, beneficial to both sides too, to be able to take advantage of the 35 and over bonuses and be able to use that. So I was definitely happy to get a deal done and be able to come back for a year and hopefully build off last year.
That last one, where does your golf game compare to some of these other guys competing up in Traverse City too?
Uh,
Top tier?
You know what? I had a pretty good summer because actually after the hip surgery it was a little bit easier to play golf as well. But I haven't played in like a month, so I was a little bit rusty out there. But we played some great courses and fun to get out there with the guys and just kind of start the year off the right way. So it was definitely fun to play.
Sounds good. Thanks for this, Patrick.
Yeah.
Max Boltman.
Hey, Patrick, so did you notice a difference out there from having the full summer of training, you think, or not much yet?
Well, I mean, it's not my first time on the ice, right? I've been skating all summer. So like, I've definitely noticed a difference from, last summer to this summer to, obviously being in training camp this year. I think is going to be really beneficial for me as well. But yeah, I feel like I'm in a good spot. So definitely happy with where I'm at.
And then just to follow up on Ted's question, was that feeling that you had about, how close it was last year, is that why you were willing to do ultimately a year? I know at the end of last year, it sounded like you might want a little more term.
Yeah, I mean, you never really know. You think you know what you want, and then when it comes down to it, I mean, especially with what I've been through, the past 2 years or 18 months to 2 years with, being in Chicago for so long, going to New York, having the surgery, rehabbing in Toronto, and then picking a team and being in Detroit for half the year. I mean, a year is going to feel like a long time for me, kind of with what I've been through the last little bit. So, you think that's important, you think it's what you want, but I think when it came down to it, just during the negotiations, like this made sense for me and made sense for the Red Wings as well. So, like I said, you never really know how those negotiations are going to go, if you're going to be able to get a deal done, but definitely happy we were able to, and excited to be there too. I think like the last couple of years, you still in some respects feel like you're a Blackhawk, right? Even when you go to New York, and last year when I was in Detroit, there's still that sense that you're still somewhat of a Blackhawk. And for me now, I think the page is like officially turned, so it's nice to just be here in Detroit, build on what I was able to do last year, what the team was able to do, and be a Red Wing, and I definitely feel like one now.
And then last thing for me, were you around enough this summer to see any of the younger guys, Danielson, Mazur, Casper? Any impressions of them?
Yeah. I mean, Danielson's really impressive. Skated with him a little bit when I first came into Detroit. A lot of skill. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Bedard, the way he plays and the way he stick handles and shoots. I know he's a high-end prospect as well, but he looks like he's got a bright future. Was actually on the same team as Mazur in like our little 3-on-3 tournament, and he was pretty impressive as well. Just the way he shoots the puck and the way he's able to get his release off so quickly. I think he surprised some goaltenders with his shot. I haven't seen much of Casper really, but I've definitely been on the ice with him a few times, and from what I hear, he's like a gritty, hard-nosed guy that could potentially play in your top 6. So they got a lot of good prospects here and a lot of guys that have bright futures.
Thank you.
Sam Stockton.
Patrick, you kind of just mentioned this with the idea of turning the page and sort of fully embracing being a Red Wing, but beyond the health side of it, what for you are the biggest benefits of having that kind of continuity and coming back for your second season in Detroit as opposed to starting fresh?
Yeah, just being comfortable, being familiar with the coaching staff, the way we want to play. Obviously the guys on the team, chemistry on and off the ice. Yeah, all those things go into it. I mean, even when you're thinking about, making a decision and if you want to, go to a new team or potentially stay in Detroit, I think, I was looking back on it, I was really happy with the way last year went. So, and in all those regards, like on the ice, off the ice, communication with the coaches, with the management, training staff, I thought was great as well. So, all that stuff adds up.
And as a player who's had so much postseason success in your past, I'm curious, as you go into a new season, is making the playoffs something that's kind of at top of mind right away, or is that something that you sort of let play out on its own as the season progresses?
Yeah, I think, you don't want to think about it right away. I mean, obviously that's our goal. Like, I think everyone knows that we want to make the playoffs, but there's steps to be made to get there. I mean, we're not just going to start the season like, at 91 points and we have a new season. We're going to be able to, be guaranteed to be potentially in a playoff race. Like, we have to work for it. We're playing a really tough division. We have a tough schedule to start the season with some of the teams we play. So I think the focus should be more on the start, getting off to a good start, put ourselves in a position that, if there's some lulls or dips throughout the season, we have that little bit of a cushion from our start. But I mean, all in all, that's the goal. I know, the organization hasn't made the playoffs in a long time, and that's what we're looking to do this year. And I think there's a lot of, energy and excitement about being here in camp and getting better as a team and just potentially reaching that goal.
And last one for me, back on that subject of kind of continuity. I know you played a fair bit with JT last year, and if I'm not mistaken, spent some time training with him over the summer as well. Again, just day one, but do you see particular areas where you feel like the two of you have maybe developed from where you were when you were playing together last year, or where you see room for more growth together?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a great player. Yeah, he's had a lot of success as well in his career. I thought we had some good moments last year. We skated with each other a lot in Chicago. Pretty much every time we were on the ice, we were on the ice together. So we're working on building that chemistry as well. But he's a guy that can make plays. He's good defensively, good on faceoffs, and has the ability to see the game and make plays by slowing down the game, which is pretty rare these days. I feel like the game is so fast and so straight ahead. And for him to be able to play fast but also be able to slow it down is something you're always looking for in a center. So I thought the chemistry was good last year and could be even better, but that's something we worked on this summer too.
Thank you.
Sean Shapiro?
Hey, Patrick, just kind of going, you mentioned Danielson and you mentioned seeing his shot and mentioned some other young players there. I'm curious, in your career, as you've kind of noticed, as you've worked with younger players, and it seems like guys come in and they've got more of those NHL ready skills. What's it been like for you to kind of watch how guys arrive to the league now? What's like, it used to be, you might have to refine the skill more in there. Now it's more, if you got a lot of the skills and it's refining the other parts of your game. What's that been like for you to watch over the course of your career with younger players?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of emphasis on individual skills these days. And like you said, I mean, everyone can come in and shoot the puck and skate fast and stick handle and be able to do, highlight reel moves. I think where maybe the younger guys struggle a little bit now is just the thinking aspect of the game. And some guys are able to do it, some guys are a step ahead of the others, or but some seem to, it might be a little bit of an adjustment. So but I mean, like I was talking about with those three guys, I think they all seem to, have a good head on their shoulders and be able to think the game as well, which is a bonus.
And then you were talking about you and Vlad earlier, both being right wings who kind of who shoot left there. I'm curious, just for you, was that just something that it kind of naturally for you to be a left-handed shot coming down the right? Was that something for you that just kind of naturally happened as a kid? Is it something that, like, how did that kind of, what was the evolution of that for you?
Yeah, I mean, what do I do? I played center a lot growing up, and then I went to a US program, and the kid I was playing with, his name was Red Rock Shawnee. He liked to play as off wing. So I started on the right wing because we had a natural center. And just kind of grew to like it, just being on your offside, having the puck to the middle of the ice, being able to cut to the middle. Especially if you're playing with a guy that can one time the puck and make plays, and you can make those cross ice passes. It seems to work pretty well. But that's something I always enjoyed, was playing the offside. I actually feel like I could play left too if it didn't work with Vladdy playing left. But I think that's something we'll just talk about in communication. I feel like I'm pretty good coming down the left side and making plays there too. And if he's a left-handed shot on the right side and we can, utilize his shot, that could be something we could go to too. But that's something we'll be in communication about pretty much every day and just kind of go through it as much as we can.
Thank you.
Connor, you're good.
Hi, Patrick. Earlier, Dylan Larkin mentioned that you might be looking at a spot in that Olympic roster for Team USA coming up soon here. And I know it's more than a year off, but I'm curious, how much do you think about maybe the four nations face off the Olympics in context of this season, knowing that USA is going to be looking at a lot of these NHL games to maybe scout that roster and the guys they might include?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of in the back of your mind a little bit. I don't think it's anything you're really thinking about right now. I think you think about, getting ready for the season, having a good camp, and being as ready as possible for, the start of the regular season. But it's there's a lot of good players. There's a lot of good forwards. Larson, DeBrincat included for the U.S. team. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, you always, it's a privilege and an honor to play for Team USA, and you want to be on those teams. But I guess we'll see how it all shakes out. And it would be an honor to represent your country, especially in those big tournaments like the Four Nations and Olympics, where you're playing best on best. So, but like I said, just kind of in the back of your mind right now.
And then quickly to follow up, I know you trained with a lot of guys in the off season. I saw some videos about you training with the Compers and things like that, the Chicago area. But I'm curious, do you notice maybe difference in chemistry or familiarity with line mates when you train with them in the off season, or are those things separate?
Yeah, I think it helps. Yeah, being on the ice every day with each other. I think JT and I have good communication about, the way we want to play and what we see out there. So that's always a good thing. I mean, for a couple of years there in Chicago, DeBrincat was in Chicago training with me as well. So I think that really helped us, build our chemistry and work on our game. And, if you're skating with someone all the time, you really kind of get a sense of what they can do and the way they want to play. So I think it's definitely beneficial.
Thank you.
Last question will go to Ansar Khan.
Yeah, hi, Patrick. For young players who haven't experienced that playoff chase down the stretch, what can those pressure-packed games do for their growth?
Yeah, I mean, those games were pretty much playoff games anyway. So that's what it's like, except you're playing in a 7-game series against the same team. So at the end of the year, we played Washington a few times. We had some good games against them. Obviously the last couple of games against Montreal were extremely exciting. Pittsburgh, who we were, competing with the playoff spot against too. So I think, and I think those guys showed out too, like in those type of situations and that atmosphere when you're counting on guys to step up and they're your younger guys and they're your best players in those games. It's pretty impressive. So, I think that kind of goes to show when, you get to a situation like the playoffs, you can lean on those experiences and those situations where you can look back upon and just understand what it was like, understand what those games were like and how you performed under pressure.
Thank you.